Red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light.
Well, it may be the winter period, it may be the freezing cold, but of course it is time for another episode of the Soul Sessions, of course with your host as always, myself, Soul. But with me today, well, she's managed by a particular individual, DeeDee the bear, but of course her name is, of course, Alfiee. Welcome to the show, Alfiee.
Hello, thank you for having me. Thank you for having us, really. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, you're a duo, and you got to respect the duo. When you have both of you on, it's a blessing. I've got to be blessed for that part. DeeDee is quite a sophisticated individual, so I'm glad she's joined us for this presentation right here. But of course, Alfiee, what I do, every guest has a story. Every story has a beginning. Alfiee, how did your story begin as a wrestling fan?
Oh, so as a wrestling fan, it started obviously in the Attitude Era. As a kid, I used to watch it all the time. We love it, really. And the people that got me like really invested and involved was like Team Extreme and Edge and Christian. I just remember all them tag team feuds. Like it really got me invested because I think there was a point where one of the storylines with Jeff Hardy hurt, and I was like, oh. I'm like really invested in it. Like, oh my god, he's actually done it. Like, that's not fair.
Well, I think that says something in particular about specifically Jeff Hardy that I've spoken to people that he immediately gives you a connection. The underdog story, his presentation against the grain, fighting against the machine sort of attitude that he has, obviously, with his presentation. Still going today, obviously, he's one half of the TNA Tag Team Champions with his brother Matt. Alfiee, just your thoughts on specifically the Hardys still active in 2024.
Oh, it's brilliant, especially to say like everything back in the day, like everything Jeff ever did. I always remember the spot where he's dangling from the belt and Edge spears him. Like that's one of my favorite ever spots. And like some of the bumps, you're like, wow. And the Mania spot when they came back to WWE, jumping from the ladder. Yes, like it's so impressive, and like it's so good to see them still around because it's like, Jesus, like it's amazing to think, oh, you are the ones that inspired me, and yet you're still here, and it shows like how timeless you can be, because their characters and they've developed over time, and they've become other things, and it's expanded, and like it just shows you like what you can really do, like if you really like put your creative mind to it and really just keep going. And I'd say look after yourself, but with the way that Jeff Hardy throws himself about, but it was sorry.
No, you go. Sorry.
No, I will say it was just because it was always Jeff Hardy's like colorful hair and like Lita's different outfits and stuff that inspired. Like it starts to help you inspire yourself and like explore who you want to be, and like you can go out there and have this funny colored hair, and you can look different, and you could still do it to this very day.
Absolutely. I think it speaks to the volumes of their presentation. One person can relate to another wrestler, another person can relate to this wrestler, but they all cover a vast array of characteristics. You could be a quiet individual that will relate to another quiet individual, or a very loud and outgoing person. They allow that ability to connect with multiple personalities and, just identities in general. And that's the fascinating aspect about them. But obviously you mentioned Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. They're obviously still going in AEW at the moment. Christian Cage, he has that cash-in opportunity for the AEW World Championship at any moment. And Adam Copeland obviously suffered an injury against Malachi Black at Double or Nothing this year. I mean, what do you think should happen between these two? Do you think, maybe should Christian Cage become AEW World Champion? Should Adam Copeland come back in costume wearing a motorbike helmet like the old days? Or should they just all get along and, stop Christian insulting people's fathers? I mean, what do we do?
Oh, I think like what you've got with Christian at the minute, like because he's got that character and it just sort of like pisses everybody off when they watch it, or like they have certain feelings and it evokes that response. I think personally, we love a good old like he comes in and wins, and then Adam comes either after he's won to create a feud or to cost him, because I think either way it'd be brilliant, and it'd be good to see like for one last time like Adam be the world champion. Just personal preference.
Hey, I think there would be a lot of people that agree with that sentiment as well. But obviously, you know, Adam and Christian started their days as a tag team. You know, AW have the tag team champions held by Private Party at the moment of the recording. Do you think them going out as a tag team is, you know, the fairy tale ending of their career?
I think so. It goes back to like roots back in the day, and like especially for a generation that they might go out to, like have the last matches too. I think, yeah, it'd be a good like reminiscent of the past whenever they are ready. I'm not really sure how long they've got left in them at the minute, but no, it'd be great to see like them eventually work together. It'd be a good dynamic to see what characters they bring, whether they're still the same as before or whether they tweak it a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be fascinating, and I think it says something to modern wrestling as well, not only just with we see in AEW, but even with WWE and other aspects of wrestlers from that Attitude Era still going. Obviously, we mentioned the Hardys in TNA, Ed and Christian in AEW. Just that amazement. Do you think it's more appreciated now in modern wrestling of these old stars still going and getting those opportunities to wrestle in front of fans and being appreciated or get a championship run? I mean, we look at this year, you know, Sting retired at Revolution against the Young Bucks with Darby by his side. We saw Bryan Danielson hang up his full-time career against Moxley. We've got John Cena next year. I mean, a lot of people are going, but I think the way they're going out, it's not like, you know, in front of a gym in front of 200 people from a fall from grace sort of story, but it's more the appreciation of what they've done for the business. Your thoughts on modern legends now within the wrestling atmosphere.
I think now the way they're going up, because they're choosing their own ways, and it's always good to see someone sort of go out on their own terms rather than like what could have been for Edge, like go out with an injury and never be able to wrestle again. So it is good to see, and I don't know, it's a sort of fulfilling like for like the inner child to see like your heroes do one last thing. And most of the time you do know that that's the end run and it's going. So it does add a bit more nostalgia to it because it's like, well, these are the last times we're going to see them wrestle. And I also think it's important because there is that debate on like letting the newer stars rise up as the old ones go out and stuff. And I think, yeah, it's a brilliant way to be able, and I don't know whether privilege is the right word, but like it's very privileged sort of to go out like that, to be able to choose, because we have seen so many that, you know, they've had an injury and they've had to retire and it's been through the tears and, you know, and we're kind of all there with them. I think we all just want to be able to go out and choose our last match and like make that last match the last thing that people are going to remember and make it a good one at that one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could see some stories that may have not had that fairy tale, like, you know, Nigel McGuinness ended up retiring on his little tour after, you know, not being able to do stuff with TNA, and for the longest time, sort of like the lost ending. Well, he had to stop his career. Brian ascended, and now we've seen this year he got that opportunity at All In to wrestle in front of his home country. Even had a match against Brian again on AEW. I think it just shows that, you know, especially for these past stars, that you may have had that ending at that point, but there's this new opportunity with, you know, only just advancements of medicines and, you know, protocols towards wrestling of maintaining performer safety, that you can come back and even get that opportunity to have your true swan song to the, you know, to the ends. Alfiee, is there any particular wrestler that you would like to maybe see get that opportunity? They didn't get the opportunity of having a true send-off that you would like to see come back and get one?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I'm trying to think. I'm not too sure about that one. I'm trying to in my head. I'm trying to think about all the people that have gone out through injury and not being able to come back and sort of have that story. But obviously, my main, like when back a few years ago when Edge did come back, like that was the moment. Like as an adult, I did cry because it was just like you just sat there. You're like, wait, what is that? And I think it's better when you kind of don't know, because there's so many things spoiled nowadays, or you kind of know that people may return and stuff. But like my genuine reaction to Edge going back to WWE was of shock. I heard his music and like I was like, no, and it kind of like takes you a second. And I think like, yeah, I think anybody really that gets the chance that wants to as well, because some people retire and they don't want to come back necessarily, they don't want to risk it. Some people come back and don't exactly have the best of matches. So I think I think it all depends really. I'm still trying to think of a name and I have no idea, so I apologize.
I think it just shows that it's the fascination of it that there's so many names to pick out there and you can't really identify. Obviously, like people like, AJ Lee, a lot of people want to see come back, obviously, maybe do stuff with her husband. I mean, hey, Becky and Seth versus AJ Lee and Punk, I think would print a lot of money. I think it'd be very good. Some people say Shawn Michaels should come back, but he finished at WrestleMania against The Undertaker and never came back. We're sticking with that. He never came back.
That was one of the matches I had in mind when I was thinking about people coming back. But you do raise a good point. See, I didn't think of AJ Lee because it wasn't really injury she went out with. She just sort of went out. But AJ Lee's one I'd love to see back because, like, I loved AJ Lee as well. Like, she was one of the ones that she was out there and she was different, like everybody else. And it was amazing to see. And yeah, I'd say AJ Lee for sure.
That'll be a fun one to see. Hopefully, Royal Rumble's around the corner. Who knows? Maybe number 30 can give us a bit of a surprise in that spot there.
Fingers crossed. Although you get your hopes up for these things and then it's like number 30 comes and you're like, oh, well, this is a disappointment.
See, it's the anticipation, sometimes it drives up people to a high bar and then the bar crashes. But I digress on that point as well. But obviously we mentioned John Cena is going to be retiring next year in 2025. The final run of one of WWE's biggest stars, does a lot for the Make-A-Wish, successful actor as well with multiple film projects. Obviously part of the DCEU with Peacemaker. The guy's done it all. I mean, I've voiced for this and I loved your opinion on this. I think John Cena should get the number 17 championship at WrestleMania this year. I think he should win the Rumble, get the championship and beat Ric Flair's record. Your thoughts on that? Do you think John Cena should break the record?
Yeah, I think so. Do you know what? I'm in agreement with you. I think that he's done so much and like, he's been through all the periods. Like he went through all the periods of people hating him. And then when he comes back, he gets a massive pop. And as I said, it's about as well, sort of what you do. Sort of when you've got your free time and like he helps so many people. I'd like to see him get that. It'd be nice to break the Flair record. I'll state that. But I have a question for you then on top of that. Who should he lose it to? Who do you think he should lose it to in his do you reckon it'd be his last match if he did win it and then lose it?
I would think so. If I had the book, I would love to do it to elevate somebody. So if it's a heel or a face, if it was a heel, I would say Braun Breaker. If it was a face, I would say Trick Williams.
Good. Yeah, those are two good ones there. Yeah, I think I'd agree. Oh, a part of me would be like R-Truth, but that's just because I love R-Truth and I think that'll be brilliant.
R-Truth to defeat his childhood hero. I mean, that's a big story up there.
It kind of just like, and can you imagine like if it's Cena's last match and it's R-Truth, then you might get a bit more like comedy, a bit of laughter, and it'd be a good way to go out like. And then R-Truth can run off that about beating his childhood hero, but he doesn't know it's his childhood hero.
See, then I would be a monster and be like, then Miz cashes in and takes it off him, so the Miz can be a champion again. Because I like the Miz.
That is some great storytelling there. I do it. Yeah, that would be a good one. I'd cry, but still.
I mean, he's the Miz and he's awesome. What else is there to say? He is the Miz. Then obviously we mentioned this upcoming WrestleMania 41 in Vegas, but we've seen that there's the road to WrestleMania, which is going to be primarily in Europe. They're hitting all these spots, and pre-sale tickets came out this morning. There's been a bit of controversy online with the pricing. For one, obviously up here in the Hydro at Glasgow for Raw, up in the rafter tickets are nearing £185 for a 3-hour show, and down by floor seats is nearing 500. There's been the same sentiment across with London. obviously a lot of people want to see WWE, so there's a demand for it. So of course ticket prices will be high. But do you think with how high they've been, especially with Clash of Castle Scotland this year as well, do you think WWE is in a bit of a pricing controversy situation? Just your thoughts on the ticket prices?
Yeah, I think they've been going up for a while because I looked at some ticket prices. This was like a year ago, and I thought they was expensive back then, but they've all just crept up, and I do think, especially, it sounds bad, but like when you're in the rafters, you are watching the screens anyway. I know it's about being there, the atmosphere, and just experience it, but it's hard when you can't really see the moves that they're doing when you're looking in the ring. And I do think, I think this is the reason why people I know will sort of wait till the end or wait until nearer the date, because they do go down in price because they're not going to sell all the tickets, because people do complain. I just think, in general, I think the pricing for tickets has gone up quite a lot. And I am surprised sometimes when I do hear it. I'm just like,
it's a shame as well, because I think obviously it's, Ticketmaster, their dynamic pricing thing. We've seen that screw over people with Oasis tickets. Scalpers as well will take tickets and try to resell them, but I think it hurts the fundamental of British wrestling culture, which is family-based shows. We have shows up here in Scotland. I know they're wide up and down this country. Do you think with this, if this continues, if this sort of pricing continues, and say we get another PLE, but it's a big one down the line, and it comes to Manchester or God forbid Essex, bad times there. Do you think this kind of ticket pricing will hurt the fundamentals of British wrestling, sort of catering to families, maybe pricing them out?
Yeah, I think so. You sort of see it in some places already. Some of the tickets are, and I know like places offer family tickets, but like when you're looking at WWE and bigger places, it is all about that family experience, and you do, because you want your crowd, and a big part of the crowd are the families of the kids, of the parents that have grown up with wrestling, taking the kids to wrestling and sort of introducing it. And I think it is a big factor, and they are what makes the crowd. So it does impact that, and impact the noise as well. Like it's just not the same. And the atmosphere takes on a whole different dynamic when you can't get all your families in there. And it does change.
No, absolutely. And I think it speaks to, obviously, cost of living prices as well. People will look at what's best for, their wallets, and they're making sure they save the most amount of money. Would you rather spend, the $9.99 or whatever it is for Netflix to watch at your own home, order a good old takeaway, enjoy some natural heating, or would you rather go and spend, triple that amount or quadruple that amount to just stare at a screen up in the rafters and not actually take in the full experience? And that's the main part of it. I mean, it's a shame. Hopefully things change, but it's TKO. We've seen it with UFC, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe Bitcoin will be like the new way of paying for tickets, or it's going to be a raffle or something. Everyone does love a raffle in the UK.
Oh God, everyone,
it's a national staple at this point. But obviously, I mentioned Netflix is where WWE Network will be going to, because here in the UK and Europe, it's still the network. If you want to watch any WWE or ECW, WCW, NXT content, it's the network. But now that's going to be shutting down January 1st, and it's all on Netflix. However, there's been emails sent out to WWE subscribers that not all content will be up there. Some legacy content will be lost. Stuff like old WCW, ECW, NXT UK, Cruiserweight Classic, Mae Young Classic won't be available on the Netflix platform. Mostly going to be Raws and SmackDowns and NXTs. Just your thoughts on potentially mass amount of the WWE Network becoming, wrestling lost media on January 1st.
Yeah, I do think it's a shame, because I watched all the WCWs on the network. I liked it. I enjoy it as a wrestler as well. I like to go see what they're doing, see what the ideas was back in the day, and like your Mae Young Classics and stuff. I think they're great watches, and especially like for new fans, for old fans, I think it's brilliant. And I do think you are going to lose it, and you probably end up going to lose lose quite a few of your like a few of your fan base and stuff just from the move. And it depends on as well whether Netflix then put the price up for the subscriber count, for the subscriptions and stuff. So I do think it might have like a rolling impact, and it's not going to be the same because you do enjoy going and, you know, reliving all the old memories and stuff. You like going to see what happened back in day.
Yeah, it's important to look back at history and see what came before, to look forward and see what can come now. Because, you know, for me, example, I'm currently binging all of NXT UK before it potentially becomes Lost Media, just to do research and, you know, look back at people who I've had on who were on NXT UK, like Mark Andrews, Wild Boar, Flash Warrior Webster, just to see essentially, you know, their careers blossom. Of course, they did stuff in Progress and the British Indies before, but NXT UK was the big ascension platform, and to see that become Lost Media would be a shame. But that's the way the balls rolls. That's what happens when streaming deals and all that happens. So we just got to roll with it. But of course, Alfiee, for yourself, you know, you would be a fan that would take the extra step into the square circle itself. I'd love to know your story of exploring the British independent scene.
Oh, well, so I started, well, it was, I got started in wrestling training by sort of like, my friend was like, oh, I'll take you to training. And then when I was drunk, I agreed. And then, yes, like I didn't think, like, because I used to see what she used to do. And like, I used to see the photos and I was like, oh, I could never do anything like that. Like I couldn't see myself in front of all them people. So yeah, I agreed to do it when I was drunk. And she turned up at my doorstep 2 days later and was like, get in the car. So yeah, my journey started like that. But I think it was a good push. Like I don't think I would have started it personally, like just the person I am. But through wrestling, like it's helped me grow so much and like to learn a lot about myself as a person. I've been doing this 8 years now, 8.5 years. I can't believe it's like time has flown. And in that time, like I've evolved, well, hopefully, I've evolved and expanded, and like I have really learned about myself. Like what you see now with Alfiee and DeeDee is really just like an exaggerated version of who I am. You know, the conversations I have with DeeDee too is normally the conversations I have with myself. Or like, I think I'm funny, so all my jokes are what I laugh to, whether you guys laugh or not. I'm laughing. And it kind of like, it showed me sort of that it's okay to be yourself, to go out there and be like your most authentic self that you can be, because there is a group of people that will always like appreciate you for who you are. And like I've had a few injuries in wrestling that showed me like I can be resilient. And because we all see the Sid Vicious leg break. Well, I don't know about you guys, but we see the Sid Vicious leg break and I'm like, what would I actually do in that situation? Like, how would you react? And then it wasn't a leg, it was my arm. So I snapped my arm in half, taking a power bomb. Yeah. And I finished I finished the match, won the belts, and there's a picture of me, like, because it was a tag team match, and my tag partner's like, just get the photo, you'll appreciate it later. So like my arm's like this and I've got this, but it's like I had never thought that I'd be able to carry on through. Like it showed me like a toughness that I had that I probably didn't know I had, to be able to just go through that. So like my wrestling journey has been here, there and everywhere, seriously. Because I never thought I'd go abroad.
Oh, fair fucking play to you for finishing a match with that arm injury. Jesus fucking Christ. Ugh.
I've got 2 plates and 12 screws now.
You're the bionic woman now. You've got that upper edge. Yes. You can just forearm somebody and knock them out. I see that as a tactical advantage.
Like
Oh God. Always well, Alfie. I feel like with developing yourself as a wrestler, it's important to look at the cultural side of wrestling, and I know one of that is sort of meme culture. We've seen it with Donovan Dijak and Feast Your Eyes and the Dijak ratio. But I know you've done some memes. Obviously, the Who's That Pokemon meme. You and DeeDee have done that. Good capitalization on meme culture. Do you think it's quite important for modern wrestlers to always be up to date with current meme culture, because it could be a good way of advertising?
I think so. Nowadays it is like a lot of social media, like, because people see it, people go on it, and that's how you are seen, that's how you're known. And sort of, because I make everything into a joke, so I needed to sort of get better with the whole social media aspect, because I'm not too good. So that's actually Sky at PPW. She's been helping me with the whole social media side. And yeah, I do think it helps because it puts eyes on you, and people, if they think it's funny, if it is a meme and you sort of like playing fun at yourself, I do think it's good to a good advertisement and stuff. And also, like, if it's just what you enjoy, like, I love Pokemon. And honestly, like, it is like a Pokemon. Like, so I'm just sort of like having fun while memeing myself, which is a new way to poke fun at yourself, which is a new way to be hilarious,
It's a good way to have some fun.
Exactly.
But, of course, I've got to ask Alfie the main question. Charmander, Squirtle, or Bulbasaur? Which one? And there's one right answer.
Well, there is, but which one is it? Wait.
Psyduck?
Bulbasaur.
Oh, it's Squirtle, but I'll take as long as it's not Charmander, who's a bit overrated. Squirtle's I like Squirtle, but Bulbasaur, fair play.
That was very terrible of me trying to show you Bulbasaur. Sorry, I was like trying to find the right angle.
It's a fun one. Well, obviously, a lot of people get into Pokemon, I think, from the old days. Now it's showing my age. Obviously the show, Red and Blue on the Game Boy. Me, bit sort of the modern, Gen 3 with Emerald, Ruby, Sapphire. Those were the good old times. Now it's all just a bit confusing. But obviously, I think with Pokemon, we've seen it's not saying it's gone down in popularity. There's still a very passionate fan base for it. But when you see other things that are similar to it, but in the new zeitgeist, they've gone up in popularity, like that Pals World that was on Xbox. Legal threats have been issued by Big Daddy Nintendo, as they like to do.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yes. Quite a game that's gained popularity. Your thoughts on the current franchise of Pokemon? Do you think it's still in a good spot, or do you think there's things that need to be changed? Do you think gameplay needs to go back to more tactical routes instead of more handholdy, or do you think there needs to be a true reinvention of the franchise?
So I still enjoy Pokemon. Like the newer obviously I played Pokemon Red and Blue. I love them games. Yellow as well. So we did the Ruby and Sapphire and Gold and Silver. So yeah, I'm showing my age too, because I have every single game still. I used to have my Nintendo 64 that's a Pokemon one, and Snap. Like the old Snap. Like it's nostalgia, and they're so brilliant. And I think Ash kind of leaving did hinder the anime. I will say that. But the newer games are trying to sort of be a modernized twist on the old franchise. And I do think if you're anything like me, so I've been playing through Violet, I always do side quests. So I totally lose the main story. And I do think you do miss that old style, like just you go back, you follow your route, you do your game. There is a hidden story in every Pokemon game. And I do miss the old sort of gameplay, but I do like the new, because I do like the open world feature of being able to see the Pokemon just like trolling around there. Because I think like that's why Pokemon Go was such a big hit especially when it first came out, because it was the first time you could actually see, actually see the Pokemon as you're walking around and stuff. And I think from there it kind of just developed it. I'm struggling to get through Arceus, so I did kind of give up on that to start Violet, and now I'm finishing Violet because it's took me ages because I just wander around. Arceus is a very hard game to get into for me personally, and I know a lot of people rave at it, but it's part of the new, and I just can't. Yeah, I prefer the older style.
No, hey, a fair point indeed, and I think that old style is very appealing to not only just past gamers but modern gamers as well. And Pokemon Legends Arceus, I've dropped that as well. I didn't enjoy it for a bit, but then I don't know what it was. I think it was just other games like Final Fantasy 14 still has me hook, line, and sinker, so I can't escape that at all. So
yes, I'm still Final Fantasy. I'm there with you as well. I don't know whether it's the franchises, but I just love them. It's like no matter how many Pokemon games come out and how different they are, I'll always play them, no matter what. Like the Final Fantasies, I'll always go through them and I'll always play them too. It's just because you resonate with a set of games, and they're your go-to then. Well, they're my go-tos, and they're the ones that I'll play over and over again. So I do enjoy them.
Yeah, absolutely. They're fun aspect of it as well. But obviously, coming back to wrestling, because I'm sure that's what the viewers they like to hear about. That they like to hear about the wrestling. But of course, we'll get back to that. But obviously, one place I've seen you really appear at, and I've seen really in the internet culture, especially on Instagram, is Pursuit Pro Wrestling, PPW. Just a place that they've got a lot of great talent there. They've got a lot of great community there. Like a lot of memes, TikTok content they fill, just an enjoyable atmosphere. And I've seen a lot of people want to go down there and learn and get the opportunities there at PPW. Alfiee, for yourself, what is it about PPW that you think is gaining that appeal with wrestlers across the UK?
I think there's a number of things. I think one, the social media content does help. They are on point with what they do, and Nathan's really good at that, and they do make the memes. They are relatable. They do make the moves, and I think the content's brilliant. But I do think it's the community and the environment. I mean, personally for me, I love being there. It's definitely a safe space for me. I enjoy it, and there is so many people there that want to help, so that they'll try. I think Liam's one of the best. I think Liam's one of the best wrestlers in the UK, personally. And Nathan is a brilliant character. I love his character. Every time I see a show, it's his character that's that's what you want to do, because he always evokes a crowd. So I think having them there does help. And everything they do, they've expanded so much. And the more people that come, the facilities, they've got the gym there. Last night they got a piano. And I just think they're always expanding, and they're always looking for new stuff, and they're always there to help and support. If you have a question, they're more than welcome. They're more than happy to answer it for you. And I think because they are more well known, and the more reach that they get, the more people that see them and think, oh, this might be a great place to go down and maybe help themselves with their own content, help themselves with getting out there. Because a lot of people do watch it, and it's always fun. There's never a dull moment.
It's an insanity, crazy atmosphere, but fun, community loving atmosphere. I think that's the best way to describe the place. It's got that charm.
Definitely. So many different characters, and even in wrestler wise, so many different characters there that are brilliant, because obviously I'm all about the character wrestling and the gimmicks, and I just find there's so much inspiration with how other people do the characters there. You've got Axel and Freaky, who are brilliant. Axel is a brilliant character. So there's so much, and you just and everybody's just there to help. So yeah, honestly, brilliant.
Oh, the fun and lovable characters down there. I mean, I'd love to maybe make the journey down there one day, but me being Scottish, I'm very reluctant to go anywhere that's not home. But Right. Yeah, that's how we are. That's just how we are. Also, I know within the UK scene, you faced some crazy opponents. One I definitely want to talk about, obviously, is you faced Harley Hudson for the PPW Women's Championship.
I did.
Harley is somebody that I've seen across the UK. Obviously, she was scouted by TNA for their gut check. But just somebody that has a presence in the UK scene. Just your thoughts on facing her and getting that opportunity to face her in the ring.
Oh, I love Harley Hudson. She's brilliant. Like we had our match at Phenomenal, and we actually had a match a month before that at Alternative, and both times, like, the thing is that, like, she's so down. Well, for me, in that she's so down to earth, and she enjoys working with me, and she enjoys working with DeeDee. And I think what she's doing is brilliant. Like, she looks amazing. The way she moves in the ring and how she executes her moves are brilliant. And it's always a fun time. Like, being in the ring with her, it's always fun, no matter whether I'm getting like shit as a heel, she'll play off it. And as I said, she went to stomp DeeDee last time, so we made a whole thing about, no, you just don't stomp DeeDee, don't touch DeeDee. DeeDee is there. Sorry. But no, so I find it, and it's always brilliant to get to work with some of these women, because like they are brilliant wrestlers, and you can learn something from every match that you do, sort of thing. And yeah, I'm just like so grateful for every opportunity that I get, and the opportunity to wrestle her. As I say, she's had an amazing year, and rightly so, because she's brilliant, and such a nice person.
Hey, absolutely. She's had a hell of a year, just minus trying to stomp DeeDee. There's some rules that you can break in wrestling, but that's one of the cardinal sins. We will not allow that here. That is against the law, as they say. We will not allow that.
I shouldn't really talk nice about her either, because she pinned me and won. Like, I'm still a bit butthurt about that. So, I'm singing her praises here, and like, yeah, really, who knows? It might be just mind tricks, I might just go out for a belt instead.
Cheeky aspects there. But other companies as well, I've mentioned the UK has that family aspect of it, but you do get more extreme styles of it. Obviously Scotland, we have Bleeding Gums Wrestling, deathmatch centric promotion. But I know about Kumite, which I believe you've wrestled for as well in the past.
Yes, I wrestled there all this year, and it was some of my favorite times. Like, I love the sort of hardcore no DQ style. I do want to, I've put it to Fletcher Kumite, like, I'd like to do a death match, because I do like, but I also like to bring the creative aspect to it. So what was great about Kumite is me and Harley Harris, another Harley, who I love to face again. We got the opportunity to have a story there. So I think it was 5 days, and we had the Rumble, we had our match, we had a tag match. She had a match against my tag partner, and we had our final chain match. And it was so brilliant to be able to go there, have a story, tell a story. Like, they trusted us to tell the story in the way that we wanted to do it, trusted our ideas. And we kind of just was able to sort of let loose a bit. Because I like creating the funny spots that are like story in the no DQ that do make sense. And I did enjoy whacking myself like on the head, doing the old spot of going for the ropes. I did enjoy that. And yeah, those are some of my most favorite matches like ever. And I'll always look back on that and think, yeah, what we did. Because like, we had people coming up to us telling us how much they enjoyed it because we told the story, because we had a story, and they was looking forward to our end match because of it. And, it felt really amazing to pay it off the way they did, although she did kill DeeDee, old DeeDee. This is new self-care DeeDee. So bit of gripes. But, if there was any one person, I suppose, it should have been her, because at this point, we've had so many matches against each other.
Hey, fair play indeed. But so you wanted to do death matches. I mean, that's an interesting form of wrestling. Some people really love it, some people don't. You don't see many women, especially, wanting to enter deathmatch wrestling? Names I can think off the top of my head, obviously, are Emerson Jane, somebody in the UK who does it. You know, think of people in the States like Mickey Knuckles has done it. For you wanting to enter deathmatch wrestling, is it just to experience another type of wrestling? Is it to challenge yourself, or is there just a real secret appeal about wanting to, you know, do death matches?
I think it's sort of like a bit of everything. Like I evolved from, so like I used to do so many no DQ matches, so many hardcore matches, and then I started to watch more of the deathmatch scene. So I started to watch more of CZW. Sorry, I can't say that fast. And watch the tournaments in America and stuff. And just what they're doing, you know, they do. I'd like to. So I like stories. Obviously, I love, even in personal life, like I love urban exploring because I love the stories behind certain things. So like if I was to be able to come and create the creative spots and do the stories in the death matches, then that would be like, that is something that I do want to do. And it is always a part that I have wanted to explore, but I never really sort of had the option. Like obviously I still want to do, like I am very much a character wrestler. So I still want to do my character. I still want to do the family shows and everything, but it is a part that I would like to explore. And because Kumite is now like around, maybe when I started wrestling, there wasn't an opportunity to sort of explore that side, but now there is, you know. And, you know, at this point, I've snapped my arm in half. I shattered my wrist because my plates held my arm in place. I've had, it was a baking tray split. I had a baking tray palmed at my face and that cut me open. Like, I don't know. There's something, it's going to be weird. There's something so joyful about putting yourself through that and kind of trusting the person you're with and producing a match that is, you know, that people are like, wow. So yeah, it is something I do want to explore, but I want to be able to bring the creativeness to it. So I want to think of, you know, outside spots and think of the stories that could go with it. And DeeDee would be a great deathmatch bear. I mean, just imagine.
I mean, you could maybe tape some glass to DeeDee, give her a little, you know, light to weaponry and throw her at people. I mean, you've got creative aspects there. You can have any fun with it. But obviously as well, Alfiee, you and DeeDee have some big things planned, obviously, for 2025. Main one, obviously, coming up here to Scotland because you're going to be facing Rubi Roberts at APW Ruggy Rumble for her Attitude Pro Wrestling Women's Scottish Championship. So, you know, this is a free platform. I love to give people the opportunity. So I want to know, is there particular words that either you or, I don't know, even DeeDee want to say to Rubi Roberts ahead of your match next February?
You never know what to expect with us. Like when you think that you can plan for us, when you think you know us, we'll just U-turn it. I mean, we're interchangeable. We're like a chameleon. You know, you don't know whether we're being nice and authentic or whether this is all just a ruse. You know, you've got to be on your toes. I can guarantee you that you will never have faced anyone quite like me before, and you never will. Well, like me, like us. You know, the bear is a very big part. So don't underestimate. That's what I say.
Hello. Ruby's definitely got her plans out for her. As long as she doesn't step on DeeDee and incur your wrath, then she's going to be in a good position. Of course, APW Ruggy Rumbles, 7th of February from the Rubber Glencairn venue. Get your tickets, obviously, through APW's Instagram page. Going to be a fun show nonetheless.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. That's one I definitely am looking forward to.
Excellent. It'll be great to have you up here in the north. Hopefully it's a bit warmer. And no, that'd be very nice. You know, Alfiee, DeeDee as well, thank you for your time and pleasure coming in here in the Soul Sessions. But of course, before we go wrapping up here, as I mentioned, you know, it's December, it's frosty time. 2024 is going to be in the back view and the front view will be 2025. We've mentioned your match against Rubi Roberts. We've mentioned your desire to do deathmatch wrestling. But I know you mentioned earlier about how you've been abroad before. Is there, you know, in 2025, if you could go to one particular country, which country would that be and why?
So I am venturing in my spaceship to a few different countries in 2025. So I do have a few things in the pipeline. However, one place it probably wouldn't happen in 25 because it's something. I'm realistic. I still got to work, but one place I'd love to wrestle is Japan. Like 100%. Everything about wrestling in Japan, down from the characters to the costumes, the women's wrestling is brilliant. Like the women over there are just something else. And I think it personally, and Japan anyway, being like, I'd go to the Pokemon Center and like being a massive gamer, and I just, that would be one place that I would absolutely love to wrestle. And as I say, it's like maybe not 2025, maybe it is something to work to eventually, but that is one place I do want to work. I'd even work Japan over America, like having the options. Yeah, I know.
Hey, fair play. As long as you save up enough money, because I'm sure Akihabara is gonna bleed your money dry. So be careful in that part. That's all I'll say. Yeah, Tokyo Joshi Pro, Stardom, Marigold. You've got a lot of opportunities over there, and I'm sure you and DeeDee and your mothership will, take over the country. Maybe we'll get you versus Godzilla in the mothership. That'd be quite a good one to go there. I mean, hey,
yeah, Godzilla will be scared.
Yeah, it's Japan. Anything can happen in that place. Yeah. Well, Alfiee and DeeDee as well. Pleasure to have you here on the Soul Sessions. And of course, folks, if you love what you've heard of Alfiee as well as DeeDee, and we'll put a link to Alfie's Instagram down below. You can click it, follow their journey and their mothership, and see where else they land and conquer next. Well, folks, finish up whatever drink you're having, put your chairs away, and thank you as always for tuning in for another episode of the Soul Sessions. Now about the humans who wanna live like animals do. No more laws and no more rules.